Candidates, MLB News, back with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about some 2021 MLB trade candidates and my predictions for those players that could be traded this offseason. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're going to have that very public video. Link to my other channel in the description below. And there's a lot of you that watch these videos that are not yet subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications as well, because you'll get notified to your phone, computer, tablet, whatever, as soon as I upload a video, which is pretty often that I upload videos. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a like on this video. And let's go ahead and get into this video. One trade candidate this offseason, and this is in no specific order. We're going to go through the top 3 teams that could trade for these players this offseason. First candidate is Francisco Lindor. There have been some rumors surrounding him, and I made a whole another video on that, so make sure to check that out. Linked in the description below, or it'll be at the end screen of this video. The end screen will probably be a lot easier. His top 3 teams are the Mets, who it's already been rumored that Cleveland wants the Mets to be involved in a trade with Francisco Lindor, the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Now, I personally think the Yankees have the most to give back to Cleveland, but I think a trade with the Yankees ends up getting done. I think it just makes too much sense. They need an outfielder, and Clint Frazier is going to be that outfielder for the future, and I think it makes a ton of sense. Next is Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish has a lot of teams that could use him, honestly. But my top 3 teams for him are the Yankees, the Braves, or the Angels. The Yankees could get back Clint Frazier, and maybe another player. Clint Frazier is obviously a more towards the future player, if that makes any sense. The Braves could give back Waters or Pache, and they need an outfielder pretty badly. And they could maybe even give up Toussaint or Wright. It's possible too. One of those, probably Toussaint or Wright and Pache, or Waters. I would personally try to give up Waters instead of Pache. That's just my opinion though. And next is the LA Angels. Now, the Angels could give up Brandon Marsh and a couple other prospects, and that'd probably work in a trade. The only way I could see a trade getting done with the Angels is the fact that they are looking towards the future and they're blowing it up. That's the only way I can see a trade getting done with the LA Angels in this type of scenario. Next is the Braves, and I think the Braves do end up getting Darvish. It is a little questionable of a move, and I don't really know how I feel about it as a Braves fan. I'm a little skeptical because he's been kind of mediocre in his career. He was good for the first half of the season, and then the second half he just fell off. I think a trade with the Braves ends up getting done. If you could have that top 4 of Fried, Soroka, Anderson, and Darvish, and number 5 is whoever, that would be a great rotation. Whit Merrifield, his top 3 teams are the Cubs, Rockies, and Cardinals. Now, the Cubs have been the main team that has been rumored to get Whit Merrifield for a while now. And I think it's possible, but also at the same time, I just don't necessarily think it makes a ton of sense, if that makes any sense. Because for the Cubs, I feel like they should just kind of blow it up, honestly. And I think they should blow it up instead of getting more players. But if they're looking to get more players to compete more for now, then Whit Merrifield's that perfect player. It's interesting where he would go. The Cubs, Rockies, or Cardinals are my top 3 teams, obviously. It's interesting where he would go. I think the Cardinals are the favorites, and I think that's the trade that I see getting done right here. And the reason I see that trade getting done is because they don't have Colton Wong anymore, so he's not there to take up the position. They have a lot of young assets that the Royals would want in return, and I think it could definitely happen. Next is JD Martinez. His top 3 are the Cubs, the Astros, and the Rangers. Now, I personally see a trade getting done with the Rangers. I think the Rangers end up getting JD Martinez. Can the Rangers re-sign him? The answer is yes, they can re-sign him. It's just will they? I feel like JD Martinez on the Rangers is quite a good fit. That's just my opinion, but I think it's a good fit. And I mean, the Rangers have a lot of pitching they could get back to the Red Sox for the future, in their minor league system. And if we're talking about crazy trades here, it could be a Lance Lynn for JD Martinez type of deal. I know that's a crazy type of deal, but I think it could happen. Next, number 6 is Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn was rumored to be traded at the trade deadline, but that just did not happen. The Rangers were wanting too much back for what teams were willing to give back for Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn has always been a really good pitcher. Not this great, but he's been really good. He's been very serviceable his whole career. Top 3 teams for me are the Dodgers, Braves, and Cardinals. And in this trade, I think he ends up going to the Cardinals just like Wayne Merrifield. I think the Cardinals are going to have a big offseason this offseason. And I think they're going to be willing to give up some young assets for Lance Lynn. I think that ends up getting done. Next is Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo is one that I think should be traded this offseason. My top 3 teams for him are the Dodgers, Astros, and Marlins. And the Marlins is on here because, for one, they do have the young players to get back to the Rangers. And for two, I think it could happen, but I also don't think it would make a ton of sense for the Marlins, and that's because you'd be rushing the rebuild essentially, and that just probably wouldn't be a great idea, but whatever. And personally, to me, I feel like the Astros are the favorites, but I feel like this is just such a Marlins move to rush the rebuild, just such a stupid Marlins move to rush the rebuild, and because of that, I think he goes to the Marlins. I think the Marlins are going to be willing to give up a lot for him, which is ridiculous, but you wouldn't be surprised with the Marlins. Next is Rougned Odor. Rougned Odor's top 3 teams are the Red Sox, Cubs, and Cleveland. Now, he does have a contract that's probably a lot more than he's worth. It's tough where he goes. I think Cleveland's a great fit, honestly. If I'm being honest, I think Cleveland's a good fit. I think they are a really good fit for Odor. Next is Matt Boyd of the Detroit Tigers, and I think he is a player that a lot of teams could use the services of Matt Boyd. He was not great this season, but he's still a player that's a good, like, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 4, number 5 in a good rotation. His top 3 teams are the Red Sox, Angels, and the Braves, and I see him going to the Red Sox. I think a deal can get done with the Red Sox. It's interesting what the Tigers would want back. Obviously, they're going to want young prospects back, but what are they going to ask too much for Boyd back, which I don't think they will. Next is Danny Duffy of the Kansas City Royals. His top 3 teams are the Red Sox, Angels, and Cubs. I don't think that the Braves are going to want Duffy really that much. I just don't feel like they're going to. Maybe they're the 4th team in this, but I personally see Duffy going to the LA Angels. Next is Joe Musgrove of the Pittsburgh Pirates. There were a lot of rumors around him at the deadline. His top 3 teams are the White Sox, Astros, where he started his career, and the Braves. I said it at the trade deadline, and I'm going to keep with it. I think he goes to the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox, it might be for a whole nother video, just talking about their 2021 season and how they're going to have struggles. So that might be another video. I don't know. Next is Josh Bell of the Pittsburgh Pirates, another player that just did not have a good 2020 season, and I think he'll be moved this offseason. I don't think there's a reason for the Pirates to keep him. I think they should have traded him after the 2019 season where he had the most value, but they didn't. His top 3 teams are the Padres, Red Sox, and Blue Jays. the trade I see getting done here is with the San Diego Padres. I think the Padres could use a power bat. Obviously, they're not lacking a lot of hitting, but I think Josh Bell is a low risk, high reward type player, or that kind of player. Should have traded him last offseason. I could see a trade with the Blue Jays getting done as well. Next is Mike Yastrzemski. Mike Yastrzemski is a player that it's questionable what direction the San Francisco Giants should be going, or not should be going. Um, just there's a lot of questions about the Giants. Maybe that's another video. What the Giants should do, what the Giants should do, contending or blow it up. Maybe that's another video. I don't know. Next to Donovan Solano of the San Francisco Giants. Mets, Red Sox, Cardinals are my top 3 teams for him, and I think he ends up going to the New York Mets. I think this would be a good player that could be in that utility role for the New York Mets. I think he could play probably third base, shortstop, second base, all those positions, and maybe you can even move him into an outfielder too, to where he can play the outfield. I think he'd be a good utility player. I could see a trade getting done with the Red Sox. I think the Cardinals are probably less likely to have these just because they already have Tommy Edman and others. Next is Ketel Marte. His top 3 are the Mets, Cubs, and Cleveland. And I personally see a trade getting done with the Cubs here. I don't think he's going to cost a ton. As far as what the Cubs are going to have to give back to the Diamondbacks in this trade, and I think it would be good. Madison Bumgarner is the next player. I couldn't really think of 2 other teams that really would want Madison Bumgarner. And I thought the Astros were a perfect fit. They have been known to develop players pretty well, and I think he'd be a good fit there. Next is Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant has 3 teams that he could go to. That is the Braves, Cardinals, and Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays are in here thinking that Vladimir Guerrero will play first base in 2021 and for the future. But I think that the Cardinals is the trade that gets done here. I really do. Even though it is risky to trade in division, and it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to trade in division, I don't think the Braves are going to be willing to give up a ton like a Pache or Waters for Bryant just because he did not play well. You're only going to get like 1 year of him. I just don't think it would make a lot of sense. But for a Cardinals team that's win now, I think it's very possible that a trade does get done. But I think a trade does get done with the Blue Jays. Even though I did say that the Blue Jays might be the least likely one, I think they have a lot of good players that the Cubs would want. I think it could happen. Next is Jason Hayward. And this one's another confusing one. Blue Jays, Cleveland, Giants, that's my top 3. This for me just seems such like a Giants move. This seems such like a Giants move. And here's why. The Giants are known to get older players and then just bring them back. And that's what happens here in this trade. Just old players that really have no value in Major League Baseball. They'll trade for them, do nothing with them, and yeah, the Giants are a team that I may need to make a video on. Next is Kyle Seager of the Seattle Mariners. Kyle Seager, Braves, Cardinals, Blue Jays. I think a trade gets done with the Braves here. I think the Braves have exactly what the Mariners would want, like some back-end starting rotation pitchers, whether that's Toussaint, Newcomb, or Wright, that they trade. I think it could happen. Next is Marco Gonzalez. Marco Gonzalez has 3 teams that I really think, and I think he does have some pretty decent trade value. Yankees, Angels, and White Sox are my top 3 teams, and I think that the Yankees get Marco Gonzalez. I think it's there between the Yankees and Angels, and I think the Yankees get a player like Marco Gonzalez. Next is Nolan Arenado. He's one of the crazier candidates on this list to be traded this offseason, but I think he should. I think he should. That's a whole nother video that's coming very, very soon. Just thought of that. I think it's a great video. It's going to be a great video that's coming. Braves, Cardinals, and Nationals are my top 3 teams, and I seriously think that the Braves can get a trade done here. The Cardinals are kind of ruled out because they already get Chris Bryant in my trade predictions, but I mean, the Nationals could give up Carter Keyboom and other players, and I think that trade could get done. But I think that the Braves have the best package to offer, and I think he's going to the Atlanta Braves. I just feel like it's happening. Actually, did I say Kyle Seager was going to the Braves too? I'm sorry if I did. But he's obviously not. Kyle Seager, I think he could go to a team like the like the A's could get Kyle Seager, even though it is in division. I think the A's would be a good fit. So my new prediction for Kyle Seager is the Oakland Athletics. Next is Josh Hader. His top 3 are the Red Sox, Nationals, and Mets. And I think that the Mets are kind of out of this competition. And the reason why I say that is because thanks to Brody Van Wagenen, their GM, he made some terrible trades to get rid of their prospects like Jared Kelenic, Justin Dunn, Samuel Woods Richardson, Anthony Kay. All the assets that they would have had to trade for Josh Hader, they pretty much gave away. So it's between the Nationals and Red Sox. And the Red Sox, I don't think, are getting it done either. So the Nationals are getting Josh Hader. Next is Trevor Story. This one is crazy. But I think the Mets get a trade done for Trevor Story this offseason. The other teams, like the Reds, I guess. But I think the Mets might get a trade done for Trevor Story. Now, just because I'm saying these players are trade candidates doesn't necessarily mean I think they're going to get traded. It means that they're players that I think should get traded and should want to get out of the situation that they're in right now, if that makes any sense. Next is Jorge Soler. His are the Rays or Marlins. I feel like he would be a good fit with the Marlins. I think a Marlins trade just kind of seems realistic. Andrew Benintendi is the next player. Padres, Cubs, and Blue Jays. I think a trade with the Cubs gets done here. I think a Benintendi for Darvish and maybe another player would get done. And final player on this list is Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees. His are the Cubs, Blue Jays, and Nationals. I know there was a rumor like the other day that was Kimbrel, Hayward, and Darvish for Stanton. And I really like that trade. I think it was a good trade. So I'm going to go with that trade. And I think that's a trade that happened. Yeah, so those are like 26 players that should want out of the current situation that they're in this offseason. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're getting notified whenever I upload a video. Like I said, there's a lot of you that are not yet subscribed, so subscribe. Get your life together. Subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more videos soon.